Hello everyone. Today we will see the last bit of topic in the structure of atom, that is filling of atomic orbitals. So we have seen nodes, isn't it? Now then we have seen the boundary surface diagram. What are the possible structures of these p orbitals and d orbitals? Then the last bit is how to fill the atomic orbitals, and next is electronic configuration. So these two will be dealing today. So filling of atomic orbitals means what? How you will fill the electrons in the atomic orbital. So this filling of atomic orbital is mainly based on three rules. Okay. The first rule is Aufbau principle. Okay. The first rule is Aufbau principle. Now according to Aufbau principle, the filling takes place with increasing energy. As the energy of the orbitals increases, the filling of electrons are done. Okay. That's an easy method for knowing the increasing of energy of these orbitals. Okay, so I will show you, then you can draw it your own. Okay, so Aufbau principle. So that is, first you have to draw, like, see, oneness. Okay, just listen. Okay, just see it. Oneness, then 2s, 2p. Okay, or I will draw like this. Yeah. First. So according to the Aufbau principle, we will see how the energy of the orbital gets increased. Okay, here it is oneness. Okay, oneness. Then here it is 2s and 2p. 3s, 3p, 3d, because D3 has got d orbital. Now 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. Okay. Now one more we will write 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f. Okay, 5d is okay. So how we will see this again. Now how you will get this series, or how you will get the increasing order of energy. Okay, how you will do is, now what you should do is, you have a diagonal shape like this. Okay, you do like this. Okay. Now what will you do? You have to touch these two, like, see. This is how. Now we will write, according to this, you will write the increasing order of this atomic orbital. Okay. First we will see what you know how to draw it. Okay. First you have to write oneness, like 2s 2p, 3s 3p, 3d, 4s 4p, 4d 4f, 5s 5p 5d 5f. Okay. Then what you will do? You have to connect it, like not like this, but like this. Or once again I will draw it for you if you have a problem. See, first you have oneness. Okay, now this is 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d. Okay, 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. Okay, 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f, 6s, 6p and 6d and so on. Okay. Now write like this. Okay. You know the format, right? It is easy. Now what you will do is, you have to connect this. You have to know the increasing. For that, that's a trick. That is, first we will have like this. Okay. Now you will have like this. Then that is diagonal. Diagonally you cut it. Okay. Diagonally you cut it, you will have like this. Okay. Then what you should do? You should connect this like this. See, 1s, 2s, then 2s, 2p, then 3s, 3p, then like this, and so on. Okay. So this is how you can, or you know or you will know the increasing order of atomic orbitals. So we will now write accordingly. Okay, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s and 6s. Now we will write accordingly how it goes on. Okay, now I will write here. Take like this, then I can write like 1s, isn't it? 1s. Then after 1s, what is it? 2s. So I will write 1s after the 2s. So energy is increasing. Then comes 1s, 2s, then comes 2p, isn't it? Here it is 2p. Don't confuse it. This is 2p, correct. So I can write what? 1s, 2s, then 2p. Okay, 1s, 2s, 2p, then what is it? 3s. So I can write 3s. Okay, then it is go like this. Then what we have? 3p, isn't it? 3p. So I will write 3p. Then after that 3p, what it is? 4s. See? 4s. So again it is 4s. Then it goes on like this, and what is here? 3d. See? 3d. Then again 4p. Okay, 4p. Then 5s. Then again it goes on and forms 4d. Okay. Then 5p. Okay. Then 6s and so on. See? This is how you can make the increasing order of atomic orbitals. That means first 1s orbital, then 2s, after that 2p, 3s, then 3p, then 4s, not 3d. See, 3s, 3p, 3d. In between 3p and 3d, it is 4s. Why? Why? Because the 4s has got a lower energy than 3d. How? You know the n plus L rule, isn't it? The n plus L rule. Okay, so that is how it goes on like this. So we know that this is the increasing order of atomic orbitals. So this is what is called as Aufbau principle. So the energy, the electrons are added in the increasing order of the orbitals. So we will get, this is called as the Aufbau principle. You write like this and then you connect it and you can have this series or the order of this atomic orbital. So it is simple. So this is called as Aufbau principle. Okay. Now I will just write it like once more. I will write it. That is 1s. Okay. Then comes 2s. Then comes 2p. Then comes 3s. Then comes 3p. Then comes 4s. And then only 3d. See, here there is a change. Why? Because the 4s orbital has got a lower energy according to the Aufbau principle. Okay. So 4s, then 3d. Then comes again 4p. Okay. Then comes 4p. Then 5s. Okay. Like that it goes on. So this is the increasing order of the atomic number using the Aufbau principle. Okay. Now the second rule for filling up of the atomic orbital is the Pauli's exclusion principle. So this you know. By just today itself you draw this diagram and make the series of the increasing order. Second is Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. Now we will see what is Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. It states that Pauli's exclusion principle states that no two electrons, listen very carefully, no two electrons can have the same four quantum numbers. What do you mean by that? No two electrons can have all the four quantum numbers same. You know what are the quantum numbers? What are the quantum numbers? That is N, L, M and S. Spin quantum number. Pauli's exclusion principle says that an electron can have, or no two electrons are there. Okay, one electron is this, one electron is this. These two electrons can have all the values, all the three values same, but one value must be different. That is the meaning. That means no two electrons can have all the four quantum numbers same. Which means that if this electron has got N, L, M and this also has got N, L, M values same, what should be the different one? The spin quantum number will be different one, which means one is having plus half and other is having minus half. That is the meaning. That means the electron in an orbit, so see, it's an orbital, it's an s orbital. How many electrons can be there in s orbital? 2, isn't it? 2. So one must be like this and the other must be like this. That is the meaning. That means you cannot draw s orbital like this. And you know, the maximum number of electron in an orbital, in a single orbital is 2, isn't it? 2. For example, s orbital, that is 2. Then p orbital, px, py, pz. So altogether 6, isn't it? Altogether 6. That is 2 here, then here also 2, here also 2, 2, 4, 6. But each orbital or each shell, I mean, in one case or px it can have only 2, py it can have only 2, and pz it can have only 2 electrons. The maximum number of accommodation in each subshell is 2. 3 are there, so there is 6. So that is why no 2 electrons can have the same all 4 quantum numbers. That means if all the electrons, both electrons have same number, it can have 3 quantum numbers same, but it must have 1 quantum number different, and that is what spin. The spin cannot have 2 electrons cannot have the same spin, or you cannot put 2 electrons in the same spin in one orbit. That is the meaning. That means if you want to have an electron, 2 electrons in a single orbit or the same subshell, it must be what? It must be one in the plus direction and other in the minus direction. That is Pauli's exclusion principle. That is, no 2 electrons can have the same 4 quantum number, or only 2 electrons can accommodate in each orbital with opposite spin. So you see, there are 2 electrons in a shell, in a subshell, which must be having 2 opposite spin. All other quantum numbers can be same, but you cannot have the same spin quantum number for 2 electrons in a particular subshell. Okay, so you got it. So what is Pauli's exclusion principle? It says that no 2 electrons can have the same all 4 quantum numbers. Okay, so that is what is called as Pauli's exclusion principle. Now we will come to the third, which is called as the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Okay, on these 3 principles or rules put together, you will write the filling of the atomic orbitals. Okay, all these 3. Now third is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Okay, Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Now, what this rule says? This rule says that, see, it is also very simple. This is in connection with the degenerate orbitals. What do you mean by degenerate orbitals? Degenerate orbital means having same energy. Okay, degenerate orbitals means same energy, which means s orbital there is only one orbital. Okay, p orbital you can have 3, right? 3 degenerate orbitals, that is px, py and pz. In the case of d, there are 5 orbitals, isn't it? For d, how many? 5. That is dxy, then dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square, and dz square. Now what Hund's rule states that s orbital you can omit it because it is not comes under it. Then for the same subshell, what I am talking about is same subshell. That means if it is in P or D or F, whatever be the subshell, the filling takes place in such a way that the electrons or the pairing takes place. What I mean is pairing. That means I told you, no, pairing of electrons. This is called as pairing of electrons. One in the one direction, other in the other direction. So pairing takes place in a same orbital or in a same subshell until all the orbitals has got at least one electron. Then only the pairing happens. You understood? I will make it clear. That means he says that the pairing happens in a same subshell. When it is in the p orbital, the pairing takes place only when all the orbitals get at least one electron. then only pairing takes place. For example, if there is only one electron, okay, p, how many orbitals are there? 3. Now what happens? The one electron will go to px. For example, if I say px, it can be px, py, pz, anything. Now if it is 2 electrons are there, then where it will go? It will go to the py. If it is 3 electron, it will go what? In the pz. Okay. Then in the 4th electron comes, then the pairing starts like this. In the 5th electron, it is like this. And the 6th electron, it is like this. Which means that, what does it mean? It means that only after each orbital is getting 1 electron. For example, if it is 2 electrons, the meaning is, if it is 2 electrons, it won't go like this. It won't pair up and sit like that. No. Why? Because it is degenerate. All are having same energy. So it will first fill all the 3 and then comes and pair. That is what is called as Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So maximum it will multiply. Maximum it will undergo this and then it will go to the pair. You got it? Or if it is a 3, it won't be like this. First, it has to fill all the orbitals. Then come back and pair. For example, P4. If it is a 4 electrons, if you want to fill the p orbital, 4 electrons, 1, 1, 1, then you pair 4th electron. This is 5th electron and this is 6th electron. And for each orbital, maximum number of electron is 2. Now, according to Pauli's exclusion, it must be in an opposite spin because if 2 electrons cannot have all the 4 quantum numbers same. That is why one is plus half, other is minus half. Likewise this and likewise this. So the total number is x square. I mean 6. That is 2 plus 2 plus 2. Okay. Now you know the maximum number of electrons can orbit or a shell is what? You studied this. The maximum number of electrons in a shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the number of the shell. For K shell, it is 2, isn't it? For the L shell, it is 8. For the M shell, it is 18. Then N shell, it is 32 and like that. Okay. So this is the 3 rules for filling the orbitals, electrons in an orbital. So 3 rules. One is the Aufbau principle. Aufbau principle, we can have the energies, the order of increasing order of the energy of this orbital. That is 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, then 3d like that. Okay, that can be done by get from this Aufbau diagram. Okay. Then second is the Pauli's exclusion principle, which states that no 2 electrons can have all the same 4 quantum numbers. That means it can have all the 3 quantum numbers same for as 2 electrons. That means n, m and l. But the 4th quantum number will be different. That is why the 2 electrons cannot have same spin. The Pauli's exclusion principle can be also stated like that. The 2 electrons cannot have the same spin in same orbit. It must have a different spin. That is, if it is plus half or it is in a clockwise direction, the other must be in an anti-clockwise direction. So that is Pauli's exclusion principle. Now the third is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Now what is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity says? The pairing of this degenerate orbitals. That is a funda. Now how the pairing takes place? The pairing takes place only all the subshells gets at least 1 electron. Then only it will pair up. For example, in the case of p orbitals, if it is 3 electrons, what happens? It will fill first all the 3 orbitals, then it will pair 4, 5 and 6. Or if it is the case of d electrons, say d is having 3 electrons, we have to fill 3 electrons in d. How will you do it? How will you fill it? You can fill 1, 2 and 3. You cannot pair this and like this 2 and 1, 3. No. First of all the 5 d orbitals has to get at least 1 electron. So if it is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is 5, 5. If it is 6, then pairing takes place. See, 6. Then 7, yes, 8, 9, 10. So total number of d electrons in d orbital is 10 because it contains 5 orbitals. Each orbital contains 2 electrons. So 5 into 2, 10. Likewise in the f orbital also 14 electrons. Okay, that is how many? 7 shells. Each shell 2 electrons. So only filling, the first filling takes place in each orbital, or at least every orbital must be at least 1 electron, and then the pairing starts, and that is called as Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Okay. Now, after having said all this 3 rules, now we will see how you write an electronic configuration. Okay. Now, how you will write an electronic configuration. So, is it clear? It's very simple. Aufbau, Pauli's and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Now, we will see how to write an electronic configuration. Now, in the smaller classes, we wrote the electronic configuration as, if, for example, if you say carbon 6C12, you will write it as 2 and 4. Now, there is a small, you know the orbitals now, right? Now, with orbitals, we will write the electronic configuration. Now, we will see how you will write the electronic configuration. Okay. You can have 2 types of notations in electronic configuration. 2 types. That means, the first notation is by using this SPDF. Okay. Now, S1 or 2. That is, for example, a general configuration A, B, C, D. That is, for example, S1. Okay. Or S2, P3. Like that. First notation is like this, and the second notation is like orbital diagram. One is SPDF notation, okay, and second is the orbital notation. Now, how will you go for this orbital notation? What is orbital notation? For example, if it is 1s, you can have like this 1s. Okay, if it is 2s, you can have s, because only one orbital is there for s. You know, right? Spherical in shape. Now, if it is 2p, you can have like this, 3 orbitals in, and then you can fill according to like this. Okay, so that is the orbital notation. So, in 2 ways you can write this electronic configuration. Now, we will see one by one how you will write the electronic configuration. I will do 2 or 3 next homework I will give you. So, you have to practice on your own. So, next is electronic configuration, or writing electronic configuration. Okay. Now, we will start with hydrogen, the first element. Okay, the first element is electronic configuration. Okay, the first configuration. The first is hydrogen. Hydrogen is what? Hydrogen is 1 electron, isn't it? 1H1. Now, how will you write the electronic configuration? 1 electron is there. So, we will have s orbital, and that too in 1s. You know, so in the SPD notation, we will have 1s1. See, which means that, what does this mean? In smaller classes, you write only 1. But here, you will specify the principal quantum number as well as the orbital and the number of orbitals, number of electrons in that orbital. And this 1s1 represents the hydrogen is in the first shell, only having s orbital. In the s orbital, only 1 electron. So, this is the specification or notation of this hydrogen atom. Correct? Now, in this case, if you draw the orbital representation, how it will be? You have here 1s orbital, right? There is only 1 electron. So, you will put only 1. Either you can put, if you ask me, can we put like this? Yes, only 1 electron, no? So, you can have both spins. Either it will be on the clockwise direction. You can't say when it will be in the clockwise or anti-clockwise. But you can write like this, but generally we will write, if it is 1 electron, for normal purpose we will write like this one. That's all. Okay. Now, coming to helium. Helium is 2. 2 means it will be also in the first shell, because how many electrons can be accommodated? The maximum number of electrons accommodated is 2. So, it is 1 yes, and the s can have 1 more electron, isn't it? For pairing, only 2 electrons can accommodate. So, here there is only 1 electron. So, you can write 2 electrons. Got it? Now, what is the orbital diagram? This is 1s. Okay. Now, orbital diagram is, there are 2 electrons. So, it must be like this. Can it be like this? Can it be like this? No. Why? According to which rule? Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So, it will, according to Pauli's exclusion principle. So, it must be like this. Correct? Now coming to hydrogen, helium, then lithium. Lithium is 3. I will do it 3, 4, then you can do it. So 3 means if you want you can write your own configuration in smaller classes. It is 2, 1. 2, 1. Then it will be easy for you. How? 2 electrons will be in the first orbital, isn't it? So I can write 1s2, comma. Then what about the energy? Second, isn't it? Second orbit. So it is 2s. How many are there? 1. So it is 1s2, 2s1. Got it? Now what about the orbital diagram? Orbital diagram, here it is, I will write 2s. Okay, 2s. So here it is 1s and here it is 2s. So 1s means 2 electrons, opposite spin, polys. Then 2s only 1. I can write either clockwise and anti-clockwise. Normally if 1, I will do like this. So it is 2s1. So this is orbital representation and this is the SPD notation. So either way you can write. Then next is what? Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium. Beryllium is 4. Now you know 2 and 2, isn't it? So I can write 1s2 and 2s2, isn't it? Because S is having 2 electrons. Now what will be the orbital diagram? Orbital diagram is 1s2 and 2s2. S means 2 electrons paired, opposite spin. Correct? Okay. Now one more I will tell. Lithium, beryllium, boron. It is 5. So 2 and 3. Listen carefully. Now what happens? 2 and 3. Okay. Here till here it is 2 plus 4. Now what happens? 1s2. Okay. 2s only 2 because s orbital. Each electron can have only, each orbital can have only 2 electrons. So 2 and 2, 4. Again 1 is pending. So where it will go? It will go to 2p. And how many electrons? 1. See? This is how electronic configuration in SPD notation. That is 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 1. Now what will be your diagram? 1s2, 2s2, here it is 2p I will write. 2p means 3 you have to draw. That is 2p1. So it will be 1. Clear? Any doubt? You can ask me. So the homework is, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have to write it from 5, atomic number 5, which means who? Lithium, beryllium, boron. Okay, now is carbon. So from 6th to first 20 elements, like till calcium. Okay, till calcium, that is 20. That is 2, 8, 10. 10, 8, 2. Okay, you just write till calcium. How this electronic configuration of the SPD notation. So that is homework. Now up to atomic number 20, you have to write both this SPD notation as well as the orbital notation. Simple. If you know this energy, if you have any doubt, you draw the Aufbau principle diagram. Then you will get it. Okay, if you are forgetting the energy, the increasing in energy order, then you have that orbital diagram, you will get it. Okay, so the homework is like this. So this is how the electronic configuration. Okay. So this is simple. Now we will see one more thing, that is, no, you can't write, see, if there are so many elements, 118 elements, and writing the electronic configurations of these 118 elements is very, very difficult. If you start from 1s2, it will have a 5d or 5f. For that, you will have one shortcut, or you can write some shortcut to it. For example, in the case of lithium, then for example, sodium. If we have sodium, see, sodium, that is 11, right? 11. You know, right? Hydrogen, helium, then lithium to neon, then sodium. Sodium. It is having a configuration of 11. Now you know 2, 8, 1. Isn't it? That is the electron configuration you have? No. Now if you write the orbital, SPD notation, I can write 1s2, Okay, 2s2, 2p6. So count it. 2, 4, 4 plus 6, 10. Then one more, that is 3s1. So yes, 3s1. See, now if it is if an element having a high atomic number, you should go on writing this, isn't it? Now what you can do in this case is, okay, in this case you have a complete shell here. See, that is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. This is the electronic configuration of what? This is the electronic configuration of neon, noble element. See? So, instead of this 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, you can write as, see, you can write like, in a bracket you can put neon and then you can write 3s1. See? This is a simple way. Not writing all this, you know the noble element of this. For example, if it is sodium, you can have the noble gas element configuration of helium. If you have lithium, for example, say, don't get confused. If I say lithium, lithium is 3, isn't it? That is 1s2 and 2s1. What is 1s2? 1s2 is helium. So I can write, if you want, helium and 2s1. See? So the nearest noble gas. What I want to say is, if something like this I want to write, I can write the configuration of the nearest noble gas. Why? Because it is stable. Then you can write the other one. Okay, for example, one more example I will give you. Sodium, magnesium. Magnesium is 12. 12 means I will write what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Isn't it? That is 10 plus 2. So 3s2. So I can write what? Neon, because neon represents this 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and I can write 3s2. Isn't it? So from sodium, magnesium to whom? To neon, argon. To argon, I can write, what is argon? Argon I can write neon, isn't it? Neon, 3s2, 3p6, isn't it? Can I write that? Yes. Why? Because for argon, the nearest noble gas is neon. Isn't it? Now next is argon. So you can write argon, then the next. Hydrogen, lithium, sodium. For potassium, you can write argon, then the next thing. Orbital configuration, the sp2 notation. So this is, now in this case, if you can write like this, you can call this neon or this helium, which you call it in brackets, you call that to be core electrons. What is it? Core electrons means what? Inner. It is on the inner orbitals, isn't it? Inner. So you can call it as core electron, and outside this bracket, this noble gas bracket, you can call that as valence electrons. Listen carefully. You know this, right? How to write this? That is, you can write in according to the nearest noble gas element. Now, in this is the nearest noble gas, that is neon. So you can directly put, instead of this 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, you can put neon. Or if you ask me, teacher, if you can 1s2, 2s2, no, you can't write like that. You have to write only this core with the noble gas metals like helium, neon, argon, krypton and xenon. Not in between, like if for example, if I can write lithium and lithium beryllium, I can't write like lithium and beryllium is 3s1, sorry 2s1. No, I can't write like that. The core electrons can be only written with respect to the noble gas elements. Keep in mind. You can't write with everything. Why? Because this is stable, so you can have that type of an assumption. That you can write the noble gas configuration like this by putting helium, neon, argon, etc. in bracket. Then you write the next so that it won't be lengthy. And if you you are writing this, you can write or you can name these electrons in this bracket as core electrons, that is in the inner side, and the outer of this bracket you will say it as valence electrons. Okay. So this is again one more type of writing the electronic configuration. You can write the core electron and no need for this lengthy one. You just see what is the the immediate noble gas, then you write that accordingly. So this is also one type whether you can write the electronic configuration. Okay, so there is three types. That is, one is the SPD notation, then comes the orbital diagram, then also this core electron as well as the valence electrons. By combining this, you can write the electronic configuration. So you have to write not this core. If you want, you can write. Okay, that is well and good. You can write this core also if you want. Okay, that will be good. Now we will see the last bit in this second chapter, that is the structure of atom. That is, you have studied the calcium, isn't it? 20. Atomic number 20 you have studied. Then after this 20, that is 21 to 30, then you have again studied this p block elements like this is boron, aluminium, isn't it? Boron, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. Okay, for all that. So this is called as transition elements, in which here the criteria comes as the 3D orbitals are filled first, then the forest orbital. The forest orbitals are filled, then only the 3D orbitals start filling. That type you can see in the transition elements from scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. In all these 10 elements, which you call it as transition metals or D block elements, we will study later. In the next chapter we are going to study all this. Here, why? Because the forest orbitals is having a lower energy. So that is filled, and then here the 3D electrons are filled. That is 10, no? So 3D1, 3D2 up to 3D10. The 10 electrons in the 3D are filling in this D block elements. Just to make information. That is, this is how it fills up. So this is how. Now the next important thing, one more important thing is there. That is, the topic is regarding the stability. We always know all the elements tend to react because to make stable. Stable means low energy. Unstable means higher energy. You know, even if the hydrogen in the ground state or all the elements in the ground state are stable, when it is in the excited state, it will be unstable. Likewise, there is a stability for, in the case of orbitals. Okay, stability for orbitals. And what is that stability? Two types of stabilities are there. One is half-filled stability and second is full-filled stability. Two types of stabilities are there. One is half-filled stability and the other is full-filled stability. Now what do you mean by this half-filled stability? Now half-filled stability is mainly for P, then D and F orbital. S is not there because S is only one orbital in which you know 2 electrons are there. So for X, excepting the S orbital, the P, D, F, G, H, we only consider these 3 because G, H, Gerard and harmonic is not in our syllabus. So we will see what is or how the stability is occurred in this half-filled stability as well as the full-filled stability. Okay. Now we will see the case of a p orbital. What do you mean by this half-filled stability and full-filled stability? You know, in this p orbital, there are 3 orbitals like px, py and pz. Okay, px, py and pz. Now, if there is 1 electron, you will make it here. If it is 2 electron, Hund's rule. If it is 3, yes. Okay. Now, what happens when all the electrons are filled? When all the electrons are filled, it will have a 6 electron. See, the 3 electrons are in the 3 orbitals. This is half the number of this fulfilled electrons. Now this is called as half-filled stability. Or if an element, if a compound is having, or an element is having an electronic configuration like this. For example, it has got if it is got a P3 configuration, normally it should have a P6 configuration, isn't it? If it is having a P3 configuration, it is called as a half-filled, it is stable. The P3 configuration is stable. Why? Because it has got a half-filled stability. And also as the same way, if it is a fulfilled orbital, it is also stable. That you know. That is called as fulfilled stability. So this is the two stability regarding the orbitals, that is half-filled stability and fulfilled. This is an extra stability. So an element which is having a configuration, attained a configuration of P3 or P6, it has got an extra stability. That is called as a half-filled or a fulfilled stability. Or if we see d orbital, see, if you take d orbital, I can say you, d orbital means it is 5 orbitals, right? 5 orbitals. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. dxy, dy z, dx z, dx square minus y square and dz square. Now if it is 1, it is 1, 2 electron, 2, 3 electron, 4 electron, 5 electron. Now if it is a d5 configuration, we will study the configuration in 12th standard. If it is a d5 electrons in there, this is said to be half-filled stability of d orbital. Because Hund's rule of isomultiplicity, each orbital has got at least 1 electron. So this particular configuration has got an extra stability which is called as the half-filled stable. In the same way, if it has got a full, that is 10 electron, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. If it has got a d10 electronic configuration or 10 electrons in d orbital, it is called as a fulfilled stability. So now we understand what do you mean by a half-filled stability and fulfilled stability. The extra stability which is getting for an element having, in the case of P, it is P3 and a 6 is fulfilled. In the case of d orbital, it is d5, that is the half-filled, and d10 is the fulfilled. If it is an f orbital, f7 half-filled and f40 fulfilled. Okay, so if I want to write f, see, if it is f means 2 more. If it is f, 2 more, that is 7. Okay, here also if it is s, 2 more, that is 40. See, this is the half-filled stability of f orbital and this is the fulfilled stability of f orbital. So now you know how an element is having an extra stability when it attains a half-filled configuration or a fulfilled configuration when compared to other one. Okay. So this is all about what? This is all about the half-filled stability and the fulfilled stability. I will give you an example. See, this example is very, very important. Okay. That is, the example we can see only in the case of, see, if I want p orbital half-filled stability, we will see nitrogen. See, we will see nitrogen. Now, how you will have the half-filled stability of nitrogen? See, nitrogen is having 7, isn't it? 7. So, its electronic configuration is, 2, 5. That is 1s2, okay, 2s2. So, 2 and 2, 4 and 2p, 1. Okay. Then, okay, 2, 4 and 5. That is 2p1. Okay. So, is it 7? Okay, 6 carbon, nitrogen 7, 2, 5, 1s2, 2s2, 2. Then nitrogen, then comes oxygen. Oxygen is 8. Then oxygen is 8. Then 9 is fluorine. So these fluorine is what? Fluorine is 9. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry. This is 7, no? 7. So 2, sorry, really sorry. Please Please listen. This is 1s2, 2s2, that is 4. Okay, then 7. Altogether 7 electron. 2 electron, 2 electron, then 2px, 2py and 2pz. That is, if you write, listen, you can write like 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. See, 3 plus 2 plus 2, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. This is a stable configuration. Why? Field stability for nitrogen. Because if you draw it, you can have like this 1, 2 and 3. So this is the half-filled stability for P. Full-filled stability means the noble gas element. That is NS2 NP6. That means fluorine, helium, neon. Neon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So 2p6 is the full-filled stability. This is p orbital. Now there is d orbital, and you have to study two elements. Okay, two elements that you can study now as such. When you come to study d block element, you will know more about it. And the two elements are chromium and copper. Listen carefully. The two elements are chromium and copper. Chromium is having an atomic number scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, so 24, and copper is having an atomic number 29. Just listen. Okay, don't go into details. How the stability comes, that I will tell you. So this have a configuration of 3d4 and 4s2. You will study in the next chapter. The immediate chapter you will study the configuration of this. So 3d4, 4s2, or now you can write also. This is 3d9 and 4s2. Okay. Now, in this case, what will happen is, okay, after this chromium, you get scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. After this, it is manganese. It is having 3d5 and 4s2. And here it is zinc. It is having 3d10, 4s2. Just for this. These two elements you have to study the stability. Listen. In this case, what do you observe? You observe 3d4 and 4s2. Okay. Here 3d5 and 4s2. Here there is an importance. What is it? This is a half-filled stability of this d orbital, isn't it? Okay. Now, in the case of chromium, since it is having a d4 configuration and 4s2, this will become 3d5 and 4s1. See, in order to attain this half-filled stability, this one electron will jump from this S to D in order to form this stability. Now, if you ask me, now what about vanadium teacher? Will the two electrons will go? No. Only the exception, you can tell it as exception. Okay, exceptions of chromium and copper. Why? Because if you are wondering why this will jump, why? Because the energy of these two are almost same. That is why. Almost. Not same but almost. So it can jump. That you will study later. So the exception is in this only two element, right? That is, this one will go and have a half-filled stability. Here also the same thing. What it will do? This is 3d10 full-filled stability. This is 3d9 and 4s2. One will go here and it will attain 3d10 and 4s1. So, in the the questions will be asked for the exam. Describe the stability attained by chromium and copper. So, what you should do? You should first write the atomic number, then the configuration, then you have to write as this to attain the half-filled stability. This s electron, one s electron will jump into the d orbital to form the extra stability of the half-filled d orbital. The same logic applying here also, that is the d9 and 4s2. In order to attain a full-filled stability, the one electron will jump into the d orbital. So this is all about the extra stability of half-filled and full-filled electrons. So there comes the end of this chapter. That is the structure of chapter, a lengthy one. I think all the chapters are lengthy one except the one we are going to study next is the periodic table. After that, chemical bonding is the backbone of chemistry. That is, it's a very important chapter. I mean, all the chapters are important for 11. So, this is all about the structure of atom, and as I told you, just go through it. Any doubt, we will have a session. So, give me the doubts and clear for you. So, go through it. That's all for today. Thank you.